here on the Offside Podcast episode. Is this 10?
Yeah.
Episode 10. Welcome to the Offside Podcast. We are, a month in doing this podcast with Eliota, Tama, and Junior, and myself. We'll scratch the pronouns this week. And we also got some lovely kids here because it's the April, it's Easter weekend actually. And so holidays for the kids. If you see some of the if you hear some of the kids around, that's that noise in the background. How was everyone today?
Good, bro.
Doing good.
Good.
Cool. With me and Ellie have asked of Tama to Junior to speak up because they do a lot more speaking off the camera than they do on the camera. But hey, it's a podcast. And they're very woke apparently. See, our chats in our group chat are way more hilarious than it's not supposed to be funny, but it's supposed to be a good chat. So everyone's all good? Ready to jump into some pretty...
Sure.
And just before we get started, rest in peace to Tofilo, Yolandi, Archong, broadcasting giant here in Aotearoa and for the Samoan community, who did some cool things for me on my come up as well as many other Pacific people here. So rest in peace to Yolandi, and Auntie from Luffy from my village back in Samoa as well. So rest in peace, Unga. There's a lot of things that have happened in the space of like 3 or 4 days here in New Zealand. So we've got a lot to chat about. I guess the first thing is there was some interesting comments made recently on TikTok by a guy called EERJKMC. That guy, official. He's a Kiwi boy and he's talking about the University of Auckland. So I'm just going to play the audio, but we can remix this after. It's all good.
Well, we've all seen that beautiful sign in Auckland University saying for Māori and Pacifica students only. And as I've said, it's the same as back in South African apartheid times when you had a sign which said whites only and whatever. This is exactly the same. Now, people may say it's not because, the whole situation around South Africa and apartheid was quite different.
Okay. Yeah, this is something that if you grew up in Auckland, you hear this, this has been a story since the 60s, 70s of this type of talk from the other side. I always refer to them as the other side. But thoughts?
Yeah, it's the same shit, man. It's something that comes up all the time. Just the whole, they've got a space and we don't. It's like, bullshit, man. The whole university is nearly all white, man, white and Asian, so... It's just a load of shit. It's just the same crap. Like, every time I hear that, it's like, ugh, same shit again.
Is this just TikTok noise? Is this racism on his part because he doesn't understand it? Because when I see videos like this, and you get them every now and then, it's either one of two things. The first thing is that they're just idiots, bigots. Mm-hmm. The second thing is they feel left out. And those are the only two things because you can't, for me, it's simple. You're in the Pacific, bro. This is a Pacific island by default. It's not a fault of ours. We're all here as immigrants in our own ocean. And so to have a little space for us in comparison to everything else that's afforded to the other side, this is just for us. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. Because it reeks of fear to me.
It's all of that, eh? It's racism, it's fear, it's all that bullshit, bro. You're right, man. If you don't like it, fuck off then. This is the Pacific Ocean. This is our space, And just hearing that shit, it's so hard to even to try and reply because, man, when I went to university, that was just 20 years ago, it was the same shit. We had a space called Culture Space or Sea Space for Māori and Pacific people. And he's all shit. It wasn't only, it wasn't only Māori and only Pacific people. Bro, there was white people up there all the time. And that's the same with this space. The students have come up and said, bro, that's open to anybody. But it's just a place where we like to come together. And if there's Balingi's there, but there's Balingi's there, there's Asians there, it's all right. And it's just the same shit, man. They feel so threatened that we have a space, and the room will be 4 meters by 4 meters. What the fuck? This one little room, and I want to go there. It's fuck. It's just so bullshit, man. They just sook about everything. They think they're entitled to everything, you know. And you have one space where you gather, one little 4x4 room where you gather with your people, and it's a problem. It's like they have to have complete and utter total control and access to every little facet of Pacific and Māori lives. It's so fucking pathetic.
It's like, I think there's the cultural aspect. So if the concern is you guys have a space, for me, these spaces, when I was at Unitec, we had the Pacific kind of board, which was run by Michael Jones's mother. And so for us, it was just a cultural space. It was a safe space for us to figure out our identity in New Zealand. And these are things that are not for the other side, or like, it's the same example if there was like an Inkia space or a Chinese space. Like, that's for them. Yeah. That's for them and the elders that have come here. And the same with a lot of these Pacific spaces. For me anyway, it's like, I'm struggling with cultural stuff. I can't talk to the therapist, sorry. I gotta go see a ko'inga or makua from my side to kind of talk these out in a professional institute. That's the only thing that I see about these, like, these spaces for us. And if you can't get that, that speaks more to you.
Yeah, and well, I'll fucking go cry in the corner. Like, fuck it. And these universities have come out and went, you know? And like you said, Auckland University has all sorts of groups and spaces. Like, there's like Asian debating groups, Indian groups, you know, just for them. And there's no problem there. You know, there's absolutely no problem. He's not doing anything about that. It's just the same old bullshit, you know, just always targeting. And you know what comes after this is the quota, is, you know, affirmative action. And then that rears its head again. And it's just the same shit. Like,
please do it. Please do it.
Yeah.
Please. I got an interesting story about Hone Harawetha, who was an NZ politician here. Good old Hone. And so I went to a Pacific March, I think it was 2011, and it was at the Auckland University campus. And so I caught a bus in, I was walking up, you have to walk up to the water fountain there. And at the bottom of the walk, Hone pops up out of nowhere. Just pops up and he's like right by my side. And he's like, hey, also, you going to the march? And I'm like, yeah, bro. I was like, oh, shit, Tony. And so we're like casually walking up and he's telling me about his stories about Auckland University back in the days. And he was telling me in the 70s, there were Balangi students who formed together to make sure that Pacific Islanders weren't allowed in these schools. He was telling me this. This is all news to me. And he was telling me, and so you know what I did? I got together a couple of my Māori boys and my Samoan and Tongan boys, and we went to that school and we gave all of them hiding. And we beat the shit out of them. This is like a politician, right? And you know how Hone rolls. He's pretty straight up. And I was like, holy crap.
Good.
So he's telling me this story, and then we stop, and there's a Cook Island lady that's slowly walking up, right? So this is to show how real Hone is. Cook Island lady is struggling to walk up, and then we stop and we do the right thing. You all right? Can we get you a lift? Hone kind of looks to the side and he goes, waves his finger. A car pulls up. I kid you not. It's like patch members. And then he tells these guys, hey, take the lady, take her to the march. Oh, God. And this was like, there was no cameras around. There was nothing. So they ushered this lady, took her, and they drove her the rest of the way up. And then Hone's like, yeah, so I was saying back at school when when we got together for these Samoan and Tongan boys and we fussied all these balangis out of the fucking school up there. But it seems like this is a common thing.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Every decade, like this rears its head.
Yeah, but we should organize and mobilize like that. Like, we should have like a military arm, you know, not just fucking just us working by ourselves. Like, we should organize like that. Like,
Hone rolls deep.
Oh, bro, that's deep. And, you know, sometimes that's the only thing that you can fucking give them is a slap across the face, because this is bullshit. It's the same shit. And they're going to do shit like that. Oh, well, if you have your Māori and Pacific space, we're going to have our white space. White people only. You know, like, they just drum up that shit because that's what they want. They just want more white spaces everywhere, even though, like, the whole fucking institution is a colonial institution. The whole fucking curriculum is colonial. Whole fucking high schools, man, like Christ College, fucking, you know, all these schools that are fucking like 99% white. They still suck about the 1% that they don't get. Fucking hell, man. The whole university is accessible to Palangis, and he's fucking sucking about one room. There's literally thousands of rooms at the university, and he's crying over the one room he can't get in. I want that one! Mom! So fucking bullshit. Self-entitled pieces of shit, man. And the only way to deal with it is Like, hold on, bro. Sometimes you just gotta fucking give him a slap, dump him in the corner somewhere, and let him to cry. Just leave him to cry.
I should have probably preempted that conversation with allegedly. It's probably too late now. It happened. Hey, and that's the truth about it.
Well, if something comes up after this and he's in charge, just say jokes.
Jokes.
Jokes joking.
What jokes was
play the bullshit. They fucking play. They fucking lie their ass off over everything.
Summer, have you come across any racism at school?
Racism at school. Oh dear.
Junior.
Just constant reminders of it.
It's hard to...
There's nothing new to add to this conversation.
Yes.
And because it's already, you've had the academics spout off on their stats and, their resources and their investigations as to why these spaces should exist. It's just like, well, what furthermore is there to say?
That's
honestly, like the university will have backed reasons to enforce these spaces. I mean, I understand that this guy's just questioning as to why these spaces exist. Maybe he doesn't know, or she.
But that's a great point. Like, this is a university, with fucking PhDs and all that shit, and they have outlined for many years, so many times, why these spaces are important and why they are necessary, and all the history behind it, and why they must be available for Pacific and Māori people as well as people of color. So they've outlined everything. But dumb fucks like this just not, they're just not deep enough to understand and contemplate why. They don't read shit. Like, a lot of the people who make these spaces accessible, they're white too. Like, they've done the research on why, and this guy just won't read shit, won't understand why it's important, why it is part of a fair, progressive society to have these spaces. So sometimes you just gotta say, oh, fuck up. Just go in the corner and just shut up and we gotta just keep on having these spaces and just keep going forward, because these people don't wanna read, they don't wanna learn, they don't wanna understand why it's important, and just fucking go cry in a corner, man.
Fair enough. I agree. Yeah, that's one of those things we've talked about on previous podcasts where it's when issues like this arise, we just have to quell it. We have to stomp on it. We have to make sure that it disappears, and that's essentially what we're doing with this, because it's on TikTok. It's doing its own thing, and so we're doing our own thing in defense of us. Yeah. Good luck to him. But I'm sorry, he's surrounded by islanders everywhere, so good luck, bro.
Bro, and that dude as well got convicted for stabbing his mother 15 times. So, yeah, so...
Wait, this guy on TikTok?
Yes, that guy who we played stabbed his stepmom 15 times and...
Wait, what?
And had a small jail sentence and all that shit. So, this is why we need spaces, to keep fucking colonizers like him out,
Wait, this kid?
This dude is not a kid, is some grown-ass bum. So, like, this dude telling people, well, why do Pacific people need spaces? It's from people like you piece of shit. Safe spaces.
What?
Away from colonizers who stabbed their own mother. So if they're going to do that to their mother, imagine what they're going to do to people who they don't have any association with.
How did you find this out?
Bro, have a Google of his name. And shout out to TikTok.
Interesting.
Yeah, bro. So...
Wait. Let me... Urgic McCray.
And this is how fucked up, like, his Baalangi followers are. Like, they're like, yeah! Like,
whoa!
They don't give a fuck about what he's done.
Teen jailed for stabbing stepmother 15 times.
Yeah.
An Auckland teenager researched serial killers before stabbing his stepmother 15 times. Michael McCray, 17, was sentenced on Tuesday. Holy shit!
Yo.
Man, fuck this guy.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him and his followers.
Hard out. And his followers all piping up and saying, yeah. But this is the fucking lunatics that...
Apartheid, he reckons.
Fuck, apartheid.
Yeah, stabbing your mum 15 times sounds like something apartheid people would do.
Fucking moral high horse to be riding on. Who the fuck are you?
Golly. Well, watch out for that guy, kids, on TikTok. Yeah. He's a convicted freaking criminal. Moving along.
No, hard out.
on this rainy day. So if you're tuning in, you hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's just Auckland being Auckland. And speaking of rain, we're going to talk about rainbows. And so I wasn't privy to this. It was only brought to my attention. Like, I obviously saw the headlines, but I didn't jump too deep into it. But Tama knows all about this. Hey, Tama. No. Give us a rundown of what happened. You probably want to hold the mic up closer.
So the media reports saying that the rainbow crossing had been painted over on K Road recently. Prior to that in Gisborne, in response, or at least in protest, they also painted over the rainbow crossing there as well.
Karangahape, or K Road, or Karangahape Road in Auckland.
Yeah.
And in Gisborne, the one in Gisborne.
Gisborne as well?
Yeah. And so I know that the police recently have taken upon themselves to classify it as a hate crime. So, they painted over it. It got washed away. And it looks brighter than ever.
Yeah.
That's
Honestly,
the takeaway?
The takeaway, it's shone brighter than ever. But otherwise, a lot of people are chiming in on the whole, is it a hate crime? I mean, the police have classified it, or they're treating it like a hate crime, but I can see how it can be perceived that way as well. Because again, it's just like, this is an action that is meant to, the intent is, hey, like, we don't want you here.
Or it's just, we don't want a rainbow on the road here. I mean, oh man.
Really though? Because
we gotta be careful.
we have known since kids what K Road is, right?
What?
So for people outside of Aotearoa, Karangahape Road, K Road in Auckland.
What about the one in Gisborne then? What about that rainbow crossing that got painted over? And this all stems from the drag, in Gisborne Library. They were gonna have a drag story time.
Yeah.
A drag story time in the public library, which obviously a lot of children use, and we use. And they were gonna have a drag story time, but it was only for restricted 16 and over. And it was going to involve dancing, lip syncing, and interactive activities. And so there was a big protest outside of the library by the local residents, and then the painting and the road stuff came after that. But that was like the start of it, was the drag story time reading,
Right.
which started in America just recently. It's only recently, so. Where I think online, we've seen a lot of protests against it, but it's only been brought into the colonial countries, America, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. They're not trying it anywhere else in the world, so.
Obviously. You wouldn't do it in a Muslim country.
Yo.
Okay, and so there was
Or even a
vandalism.
Christian country. I don't know if you tried that in Samoa, man.
What's an interesting thing, right? Like, you can frame it as drag queens, but we have a lot of whawhawhingi in schools as well, teaching, but not to the extravagant kind of performances that a drag queen encompasses. For whawhawhingi, they're teaching like teachers.
Whawhawhingi are very different though. Yeah. Like, they've come out publicly against a lot of the rainbow stuff.
For real?
Yeah, they have the the Whawhawhingi Association in Samoa actually supported anti-gay marriage, like publicly came out. And also, if you see them, see a lot of Whawhawhingi on social media, they've talked about the transgender issue and whether or not.
Another topic.
Yeah,
the sports
one.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the Whawhawhingi of Samoa, they have a lot of values that are very Samoan.
Yeah.
And the drag one you're seeing in colonial countries is very different to how Samoans view whawhawhingi. It's not the same, but the woke Palangi are trying to make it the same.
Right.
In order for Pacific people to follow conform to the white drag queen imagery or culture. But the whawhawhingi one, which is ancient, it's much older, It's very different, and you see that they got a lot of different opinions from the woke Balangi Green Party bullshit.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's fair. That's a fair. That I mean, like we're allowed to. Well, for the Pacific sense, we're allowed to kind of explore that. Who were the culprits in this? Who were the suggested culprits, allegedly, or?
well, they're saying it's Destiny's, but the Destiny's in Auckland have denied any association with the Auckland one at this point.
Yeah.
I think I just read at 5 o'clock last night that they saying no, they didn't have anything to do with K Road, and no, there has been no searches on any Destiny's Church properties as reported. So I'm not too sure with the Gisborne one though. I think there is an association there, although maybe the media is talking about there is an association there. But Destiny's tends to pop up with anti-rainbow stuff.
Yeah.
So, and Destiny's, there's a lot of our people in Destiny's.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Pacific and Māori people who are part of that as well. And that's a discussion.
Yeah. Someone feel free to jump in, bro.
Yeah.
Processing, because you had a friend, right, that was there at the night.
Yeah, so what the
They filmed the actual vandalism.
So he filmed it. He was just like, oh, there's no license plate on the car, but that's the thing. I thought it was moronic. At the end of the day, I mean, considering it all got washed off, I'm like going, oh. But the act itself is what they're concentrating on. It's just if you want to see the brighter day, or they were on the bright side, and all those other images that have come out after saying how bright it looked. You know, people just trying to look at the positive. I guess, you know, again, protecting your energy at the end of the day. How are you going to perceive it?
Yeah, I think people have a lot of issue as well with the rainbow being thrown. I think people feel like, oh, it's been thrown in our face. It's everywhere. And I think, well, I think that is what they're saying a lot, right?
Safe space?
The road?
No. The funniest thing is, like, and it's maybe my ignorance to the whole thing, but I wasn't I didn't know of the situation until you guys told me about it. And I say that to say, if these guys, if their whole aim was to diminish or, you know, protest, they actually did them a favor by highlighting them, because now it's almost mass media now. Like, to me, it's just you guys did like, if your whole thing was to say F you to the LGBTQ and all the other letters, I don't know, but if that was your whole point, rather than trying to hide them, you've actually highlighted them and given them more power. So maybe work on a better strategy to protest.
But I think there's a conspiracy about that. I actually think that could be the whole meaning behind these drag reading, is that they deliberately bring in this stuff knowing full well they're not going to do it, but it's going to create protests and it's going to create a reaction.
So a bait, like
it's
bait and switch.
It's bait. So then they create the reaction that they want, and then they focus on that and say, see, we're victims. Okay, so they start off with the bait because it feels like a ritual, because they've done it in America. It was started by a 50-year-old woman, like Michelle T, I think. So she's the one who brought this up. Some white woman came up with the idea of, let's do drag readings in a library. And they're all like, you got to be 18 and over and shit in a library. So I feel like it's just some performative, it's just, like you said, it's just bait to get, because they know how we will react and how most people will react.
It's great advertising.
Yeah, and then you focus on that, and all of a sudden, we're victims. Would
it be no different than a shock jock, for example? Someone who just screams out swear words or tries to shock an audience in a sense to bring it
No, this is way more calculated, and this is like...
A shock jock is the guy that we just previously talked about.
Yeah, that's a dude who hasn't got power to go and put it in a library.
But now he feels victimized.
Oh, no, that's like, this is like coming from the council. Like, the library is council. Like, they are putting in drag readings for adults.
So it's a bit embedded.
In the library. Like, for me, if you just look at that by itself, it's like, why would you do it in a library? You know, where our little kids go there and stuff. And I think that's what a lot of parents or a lot of people are against, is all of that. But that's going to garner up reaction. That's going to create all sorts of reactions. Sorry, guys. And then,
a bit more strict.
but they know. Okay. Remember, this is, bro, they are calculating. When it comes from America, they do that. They start off this and this in order. We want this type of reaction. We want this type of hatred to be seen on media. How do we get that? Let's do this and this and this. So if you see the ones in America, Canada, and Australia, a lot of them don't go ahead. They just say, we've got a drag queen reading in a library, and then there's a massive protest, and then there's something else, and they just focus on that. But a lot of them don't even go ahead. It's like, it's not even real, man.
Great advertising. That's just
Yeah, and it just gets us all talking about it.
It's great marketing.
And then it sort of brings out everybody to talk about it, and then they see who to cancel. Oh yeah, that person was against it.
Yeah,
that
it just
person
seems
was
like a
against
very Western thing to do, is to fund both sides.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, we could talk about,
we can talk about Destiny's Church as well being funded.
Whether that be war or
Yes.
any form of embedded journalism, whatever.
Yes,
it is.
absolutely.
So,
The fake
when you,
fight.
Yeah, so when you think of, when you bring that up, like think tanks, lobbyists, they all go hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah, that funding both sides. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
and I'm just
it's-
like, okay, like it is plausible.
Because it divides us.
Unfortunately.
Like we got Pacific and Māori people on both sides right now.
Because in a sense, it's also nudging behavior. Because as anyone knows, you can't force. I mean, you can try and force a certain population or certain people to act a certain way overnight. You can't really do that now. But I'm guessing, in a sense, this could be behavior nudging. As in, hey, like
Pushing, grabbing the ear. I think it's full on. Like there's clearly a massive agenda.
And then the generational thing, like you're dealing with children as well.
Yeah, and you're dealing with children, man, at a library. Come on, man. Like, I can understand clearly with kids myself. I can understand, and the reason behind it, they say we want to capture the imagination of children, and play for gender fluidity. But the whole capture the imagination of kids, everything, and it's not just drag queens and that, like TVs, Disney, everything is about capturing children's minds. And that's, if you wanna have a future a particular way, you have to capture the kids now. On whatever ideology you want in the future, you have to embed it in the kids now. And the big influence on the kids is parents, right? Is parents and schools. So there's always that fight and shit, but I'm probably going to get cancelled after this. Well, I will be.
I don't think that's a fear that we should have anymore, that whole cancellation thing, to be honest. Like
But that's how it goes. And, yeah.
It's old. Like we kind of, if you're smart enough, and I feel like people are kind of sick of the whole, he said this in his Twitter post 20 years ago.
Yes.
It's like, shut up. Life goes on.
Yeah, but it's like it's a form of control.
Yeah.
If they don't like what you say, cancel. You must say something that aligns with my beliefs. You're accepted. You're accepted. As soon as you don't say something they like, you're cancelled. We want everybody to think one mind.
Yeah.
We want a hive mind, a controllable mind. And if you say anything against that, you're cancelled. And I don't like these fuckers anyway. They're talking about inclusion. These are the same pieces of shit that supported the mandates, that excluded their own people. I saw Māori activists, these Green Party eat-asses, I saw them say shit like, ban people who don't do this, who want control over their own body, ban them from netball courts, ban them from the gyms, ban them from society, from cafes. I couldn't even fucking go watch my daughter go play a netball game. I had to watch outside of the fence because of these fucking lunatics. Now they're talking about inclusion? Bullshit. Bullshit. They are not about inclusion at all. They're about everybody must think like me. You must have the same opinion and thought as me, otherwise you're excluded. The Greens Party is not anyone, they shouldn't be speaking about inclusion. They're all shit. Anyone who supported the mandates, banning your own people from society, bullshit. And I've never seen drag people or anyone get banned from society. Actual laws, rules, banning you from society, where everyone goes, no, you can't go in here, you can't go in there. I went through that shit for 2 years because of these fucking lunatics. Now they're going to talk to me about inclusion? Shut up. Full of shit.
Back to my original point. You're safe here, Us. You're not going to get cancelled from us, bro.
No, so that's why, like, this is, like, the whole intersection and the whole, it's deep. And they're really oversimplifying it by cancelling and by not being able to hear these different opinions. And the people protesting against the drag stuff, that's fine, you know. The whole library is paid for by all the residents and their rates, so they have every right to protest against it. And I think, it just feels like for a lot of people that this shit is getting shoved in our faces.
There was no Māori flag painted on the on the roads for their inclusion. There's no Pacific fucking. That's a good any of this shit and all. There was no Pacific readings in libraries. There was no Māori readings in libraries, and all of a sudden there's this. Yeah. So I mean,
That's a divisive feature.
it's made to divide harder. And I saw that because Pacific culture, I saw a dude. What's his name? Malisi, is it?
Damon? No.
Oh, no. He's a professor at Mass University. He was born in Vanuatu. And he got cancelled. He got attacked for saying, you know, like Pacific culture is not like that. And, bro, they went after him, man.
Great marketing. If the idea was to embed it in people's head, victimize a certain group, create sides, then if it is a ploy, they've done their job.
I just hope our Pacific people, you know, keep looking after each other and staying with each other, because like white homosexuals are just as racist as white heterosexuals. So I think it's more important for us to keep staying together and look after our own communities, because there's so much to battle, man. And the problem with being like a minority population is that you're always subject to whatever the majority mainstream puts before you, no matter what. You know, they have the power to run libraries, roads, all of that stuff. And whatever they do, you pretty much just have to deal with it. And we can't really, you know, we don't have much power to stop anything. So it's so important for us to just stay together on a lot of issues. But by that, I don't mean like we must all think the same. We've got to be able to tolerate and appreciate that we will have different opinions on things. It doesn't mean we go destroy each other over it. So, Junior?
It's a good way to round up the Rainbow Road discussion.
Because it can go on forever, man.
It can go on
I feel
forever.
like it.
Actually, I just wondering, from a creative perspective, why white? I mean, why not use paint?
Black.
Yeah. So,
Were they saying white supremacy over over the rainbow supremacy? Is that what they were saying? And why water base? You know, why would you do a water based paint?
Is it cheaper?
Could be. Yeah, like if you were about it, you wouldn't do white. You'd probably do grey or black. You wouldn't do water based. You do oil based. If it was real.
I mean, they buff out graffiti, right, to the point where it's neutral colours and things like that. I mean, it's the white stands out though.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe. There's so much organised.
It's an insult to the creative community, especially all the painting.
Yeah.
What's the alternative, huh?
Man, did we even...
You sand it off? Like...
Yo. But those rainbows are still there.
Yeah.
You know, like they've... it's garnered, like you said, bro, it's got a lot of publicity. The rainbows are still there.
Figuratively too, if you wander around K Road. You've got issues, there's a whole bunch of people on K Road that will stand up to you and fight you. Yeah, I mean, that's our rounded thoughts on the Rainbow Road. We can go on forever. I wanted to talk about this video that has a lot of people chuckling at it. It's from the Pig Athletic Club. It's a podcast in Australia. I believe it's done by former players that played in Australia in the rugby union, I guess, local league. I'm going to play it. And this is in regards to the lack of people in the crowds for Moana Pacifica, the Super Rugby team that we have.
First and foremost, the Moana Pacifica supporters. Look, we've got a massive soft spot for the Pacific Island community, and there's a lot of shade that gets thrown the Palangi's way, the Super Rugby way. Oh, you're not doing enough for our sport. Well, okay, fair enough, you had a point. But now you've got to get off your ass, gout or no gout, get on your crutch, start hobbling over. Because I'm telling you now, there was 3 people there from Moana Pacifica supporting. There wasn't anyone there, and so everyone's crying and whinging about not supporting and getting around them. It's time for you guys to get off your asses and get down there, moisturise your ankles before you go, and get your big mullies on the seats, mate. Because I tell you what, there was fucking no one.
First of all, fuck, that dude took 3 shots at Pacific people. Gout, big mullies, and wash your ankles. Or what? Oil your ankles. Bro, if someone took 3 shots at my people, I say something straight away about that bullshit. Fuck, he can say his piece without taking negative shots at our people. Now, with that said, the issue that he's talking about is the empty stadium in Hamilton.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not a good move to go to Hamilton. I think Moana Pacific is very new, and they should focus on building up the base in one place first. Like, to keep moving around is, at this point where you haven't established yourself as a successful team, and I'm being honest, it's not established as a top team, you have to do the mahi in one area first and grow that patch first, work on that maumanga there. And
sorry, I believe that game was played in Canberra. Brumbies. Wait.
No, I'm sure that was in Hamilton, that one. It was,
okay. Cool. Stand corrected.
Was it? Yeah, so it was a home game for Moana Pacifica, and they moved it around. They went south. But I think with the whole idea of Moana Pacifica being based in Auckland was because Auckland is the largest Pacific city in the world. That there is a market there is a potential fan base to support Moana Pacifica. And to start moving it around to places that don't have the Pacific numbers as Auckland, it was wrong. It's too early to start going around and trying to increase the fan base in other places that don't have the numbers that they do in Auckland. So yeah, the fault is not Pacific people going down, gas money down to Hamilton, inflation and everything. It's already hard enough as it is. Why the fuck would you start taking it away from people's homes in Auckland? I don't understand that. So I think the problem there was the scheduling. It should have never been taken away from Auckland. They haven't even built the fan base in Auckland yet. The fan base in Auckland is not even that big, that strong yet. And you got to start small. You got to start local. You got to humble yourself and work hard and build that first, and then earn the right to go wide.
So growing up in Auckland, I guess the team that I will support naturally, that had the most Pacific players, would be Auckland Blues if you grew up in the 90s, or Counties Manukau on the NPC level, or even Waikato. So we've already inherently got teams, but I always felt that Moana Pacifica was a decade too late. I always felt that it's a tick the box thing. And this is not a shot at all the players that are freaking killing themselves every weekend. This is not that. It's just the idea behind it. Because in my head, when they announced this team, I was like, great. They're going to have a team in Samoa or Tonga or even Fiji to play home games. And Fiji, they've already got the draw. So I always thought that this team was best serviced to have home support in Tonga and Samoa. From what I've learned is that they're supported by New Zealand financially, whereas Fiji have some support from Australia. So I just, it's a weird thing when you're trying to pack a team in Auckland which is a pretty tiny city, and you've got the Warriors, you've got the Breakers, you've got so many other smaller franchises here, or well, big franchises. But how do you get behind a Pacific team when there's a lot of Pacific people here that already support the Warriors or they support Auckland?
Good point. That's a really good point. And you know Samoans, man, like they will jump on board once you start winning. You know, once you're successful, then support comes. And you're right, there's so many other sports to compete with. Like good teams, the Warriors is massive at the moment. The Blues have a long history here in Auckland. And the Breakers are taking off as well, with basketball really growing in New Zealand. And this is why you really have to try and succeed. The Warriors built that recently. I think last year's team brought it all back because of their success. You know, they did really well and they earned that. They earned that support, and now, you know, that's where they are at the moment. And Moana Pacific is new. And you're right, there's that sort of like an identity crisis thing. Like, are they for the islands? You know, they came out saying this is going to be a pathway for Manu Samoa and that, but, you know, obviously they hardly play any games. There's also like Tonga, Samoa, and Fiji are very different. Although we're the same, we are very different as well. And it's kind of like they're trying to find their niche. They're trying to find their market, which I don't think you're going to find it by going down the line to play in different places. Especially like, you know, if Hamilton already got the Chiefs, for example, I think if you're gonna, you got to find who you are so you can understand where you are and where you want to base everything and build your foundation and build your business, your club from. And I think you got to really stick with that. And I think it was a mistake to take it down south. And clearly it was a mistake. There was no one there. And we just don't have the, well, I don't want to say economics, but to get fans to go drive down, you know, and then drive back and watch that game, that's too much, man.
But if you look at the Super Rugby as a whole, man, it's so empty already.
It's fucking dead, bro.
Like if you looked at the Crusaders games versus the one Warriors game.
Yes. That Auckland Crusaders game historically is fucking
It's packed.
Historically sold out. That shit was dead, man. Like, yeah, you're right. Super Rugby is just dying. Like in that Pacifica strategy, like rugby's on the decline, and yeah, the empty stadiums in Moana Pacifica, yeah, well, that's fine, but you're right. There's empty stadiums everywhere in Super Rugby at the moment. It's like,
yeah, it's a shame because if you grew up in the 90s in Auckland, like even a high school game was packed.
yo,
Like our games were packed, and to see where it is now, like I remember watching an All Blacks game about 2 years ago. I mean, yeah, fair, it was during COVID, but it just felt dead.
yeah. Even now, like, do you want to watch it?
I don't care. Like, unless it's the World Cup. Like, the Tri-Nations or the comp that New Zealand have with Australia, I don't even care anymore. You know, South Africa's not around. The only thing I look forward to is watching Manu Samoa at the World Cup. Honestly, Manu Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, if they've got their own thing, only because I'm kind of bored with that style of play, and Samoa, Tonga, and Fiji. It almost feels like they just, the rules are a bit less when they play each other. They're allowed to do all the flashy stuff. They're allowed to hit each other. But then when it comes to World Cup time, a lot of those restrictions are put back on. But I don't typically care too much for rugby in this country anymore.
Yeah, bro.
Even for Auckland.
Yeah.
Sorry. Warriors, I've always been a long-time Warriors fan. I've got a lot of ties to that club naturally. So, yeah, it's just...
It's hard to watch, bro.
It's hard to watch.
Like, I used to be excited about the weekend, like, Blues and that are playing, and...
Is it boring?
It's boring. There's so many, like, I tried to watch something last week. What was it? I think I might have... And there was an advantage, bro. They played for, like, 4 minutes, and then the ref just went back to the advantage. And I was like, well, what the fuck was the point in that 4 minutes?
You just wasted 4 minutes of life.
And I just changed the channel, bro. It was like, fuck, man. And then, like, it's so technical, like, roll away. It's so marginal. And it was just so bullshit. I used to love the Super Rugby in the weekend. And now I honestly look for when the Warriors are playing, when the Panthers are playing, who else is playing. Is it going to be a good NRL game? Like, I look for that. I look for that every weekend now.
Is it simply, has the game, I mean, I know that you've alluded to, or at least referred to the changes in the game. But the other aspect, like as a spectator sport, I mean, I'll be honest, we've got options. Like
We got options, and
like rugby's old.
we got a finite amount of disposable income as well. Like,
But the attention span of the average person now has.
But, you know,
so when you're trying to watch,
yeah,
when you're trying to watch a rolling maul or someone like phase play that goes on for feels like eons. It feels like eons. It feels like a long ass time, and then you find out, oh crap, it's advantage to blah blah blah.
yeah.
On top of that, like I feel like apart from the game and its rules and kind of how boring it is, there's almost a saturation of it. I remember even early in the mid 2000s, Tana Umango was talking about it. We were saying, so you want us to play almost 40 games in a year, on top of being All Black, EPC, Super Rugby, and then there's sevens. If you're good at sevens, there's like rugby, like it's oversaturation, and I think people are just like, is that as well? Like that's to, like for me living here, it's just like it's just too much rugby, too much rugby.
Yeah, I watched the Warriors game last week. Fuck, it was so good. Like hardly any penalties, and it is just literally non-stop for 80 minutes. Like they've just got it right. It was such a good game, and I don't have that with the rugby. I'll watch it. Oh fuck, bullshit. Just referees and their calls, and it's just.
And sometimes it feels like the players are confused themselves. Like you watching the ref, like naturally they'll act confused, but then genuinely, it's just like, what? Wait, what? What's happening?
It just seems to me, league looks like a highlight reel.
Yeah,
In comparison.
it's very simple too. It's like up the nuts and
Yeah.
it was non-stop.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, league lacks the technicalities of a line out, the scrum. There's like the forward play that's massively important in rugby. League, it's set the platform, run it straight,
Yes.
and see what happens.
Yeah, and rugby is so. Yeah, so I don't like his angle. I don't like all the shots he took at Pacific people, and I don't like him like we have to get out there and go and support. And no, there's many ways we can support.
Support your local, right?
Yeah, support your local.
But-
and that's not local. They took it out somewhere else. I don't know if they did that on purpose.
Petrol's cheaper outside Auckland.
I don't know if they did that on purpose. Why would you even do that, man? Like, they have a home game there. Like, the Blues don't go down to Christchurch. Fucking play their games. Blues don't play down in the Chiefs for their home games.
Was this part of the strategy? Like shopping them around?
It could be, because they do that to Manu Samoa World Cups. We have to go and perform and dance at all these places around France, while New Zealand can consolidate in Paris and just camp up at Paris. It's like...
It'll be, I mean, to be fair, you said that, no, right?
Yeah.
So it will take a bit of time to build their identity, their home base, as in their brand, where they stand versus other sports breakers.
But they got to have the chance to build it, like play their home games consistently at home and earn the respect, because, our people, like, on us, I reckon, like, we will support, like, we always support, like, winners. Seriously. Like, our people are like that. That's just how it is. It's something great, I think. It drives our people to be excellent, is that we don't generally support people who don't win.
So you're saying that if Moana Pacifica go on a streak,
Oh, bro, people will jump on board, bro. It would be so exciting. Absolutely.
bandwagoners.
It happens with every team.
Bandwagoners.
With every Samoan team, like, Gaia, people just talk shit about them until they start winning. And then people go, oh, you only jump on board when they win. Yeah, that's how our people are. And that's why our people are so fucking good. That's why people want to win, because they want the support. Like, that's how you get support. Like, and that's why our people are excellent. Because there's that competitiveness in all of us. Ugh, they're useless. Okay, I can do a better job. But our people are tough like that. And bro, Moana Pacifica, all the players know. Professional Samoan rugby players know. Bro, you got to earn that. You got to earn that support, and you succeed, and bro, people will always come. It's the best way to get support is to win. Is to win. And yeah. Bro, it's good. That's good people didn't go down to fucking Hamilton. That's a way of saying, no, we want our home games up here. Fuck going down there. There you go. Our people just spoke. Our people sent a message to the New Zealand Rugby Union. We are in Auckland. We don't want to go down. You fucking You go fill up your own stadium, man. But we are Auckland, Moana Pacifica's Auckland, our Pacific people in Auckland, we want our games here. So that there, the empty stadium is communication from our people. Our home games should be up here.
That's a good segue to our conclusion. We've talked about a lot of touchy subjects today, and so we'll leave it at that. I'm just happy that we got a word out of Junior and Tama.
Yeah, Sushi Junior.
Hey.
Shot Junior.
This will be a common feature. You got your camera. We've got 2 extra guys talking. Thank you to the team. And we do have some children in the house, so we need to clear the space and enjoy our Easter break. And I hope you guys have as well. That's us from the offside for another episode 10.